My name is Nico Cocco. I'm a junior class 2 at the Brooklyn Latin School, IB Visual Arts Year 1, and I'm going to talk about my studio work that I've produced up to term 2. I'll start off with my first work of art. This one is called Ambition. The action plan for it is here. It goes over to the next page, and everything before is for it to the cultural, historical, materials exploration. I did graphite pencil. I redid it again, and museum exhibition visit MoMA. So the criteria for this work of art, the only thing that we had stipulations with it were that it had to be a self-portrait, and I wasn't going to take the approach of making it a physical self-portrait of my body, so I used something to represent me, and at the time I didn't know what I wanted to use, so I used something I was confused with, such as career choices at the time, something still on my mind to now. And I used my childhood dream career choice of wanting to be a fireman for the FDNY, so I went along with that with my for my work of art for the portrait. I documented that up top here, and I went on and did my first rough sketch thumbnail, and I thought this was thought it was pretty successful for a thumbnail. It really wasn't as intricate as it could have been, but again, it was my first work of art, and I guess I was a bit nervous, and I tried to reflect on my struggles and weaknesses with this. I really liked I liked the idea and the nameplate itself that I put there. You could put text to get more personal with the work of art, but I think that I struggled with the composition of the piece overall, and just really getting the image off of my mind onto paper, because it was my first work. Then I tried the second thumbnail, and I switched up the pencil for this one because I just wanted to try a different composition just to see if it would come out better or not to me. And after the second thumbnail, I reflected on my successes and weaknesses for that too. I thought that the composition on the plaque for the second thumbnail was better than the first, but I also thought that I was having a hard time getting the image off of my mind onto paper still. But I went ahead and told myself that it's my first work of art for the class and that it would be better, so I went through and I got my final product, and I'll put it in closer. There are song lyrics in the work of art. I cited it in my workbook here. It's a song. It's the chorus from a song called Jesus Christ by a band named Brand New. And I put the final piece in my workbook here, and I reflected on the overall successes and weaknesses of the piece. I thought that I was really being personally relevant with the work of art, because it is my childhood dream that I was trying to depict here, but I still was failing with getting the image off of my mind onto paper. So that was something I said I had to work with, and I think that technically my piece was good. I felt like I was using graphite pencil to the best that I could at the time. Cultural and historical wise, I tried to use pieces of the Roman values that Jacques Louis David used, pietas, gravitas, and auctoritas in my work of art. I tried to cite, the military and sense of duty to help people as part of my work, so I felt like I've met the requirements for the rubric. My second piece was a line variation room drawing. I used my kitchen. I felt that my kitchen was the easiest spot to do this work of art in because it's where I am now, which is kind of where I always am. I like to eat, so I cited that in my workbook. I talked about why I chose my kitchen. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to do line variation or stippling for this work of art, so I tried off with stippling first. I went with my outlet, but I really wasn't liking the way it came out. I switched over again to see if stippling would be good. I used a different pencil, but it just wasn't working for me. I thought that getting the shape of the image was there, but the composition that was not really successful, so I switched over to cross-hatching, and cross-hatching wasn't working out for me either, so I tried line variation, and I switched up the object because I felt like the outlet was not complex enough to really show if something would be successful or not. So I went on to line variation, and I felt like this was successful. I got my microwave down with line variation, and I went through and finished the work of art with line variation. I think that technically this was not my best work of art. It was probably my weakest. I didn't really use graphite pencil to its best that it could have been used by me. There wasn't a lot of effort put into this work of art at all, and it just was not as successful as my other ones were. After being very unsuccessful with that work of art, I tried to move on to something else with graphite pencil and ballpoint. This one is my third work of art. We didn't really have any criteria for this one. It's a manga drawing. I was really into reading a lot of manga at the time, and I was working on this throughout school and after school and when I would be bored in class. This is untitled. It's an untitled piece. I haven't given it a name. Haven't really thought of a name for it. Probably won't. And the action plan for it is still going on in my workbook through here. I was thinking about using charcoal or Conti crayon first, but I wound up the composition of this. It's on a watercolor paper, but it's composed. It's drawn with graphite pencils, specifically 2H pencil, most of it, and ballpoint pen, black ink, Bic round sticks. So I just thought that this piece was really personally relevant to me at the time because I was kind of getting my ideas of like drawing manga and everything out. It was my first piece. I thought it was really successful technically. I feel that I did a good job getting everything on paper. My fourth work of art was more of a series of silhouettes. The criteria for this was a redo for another work of art, so I really didn't have a criteria on it. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I chose a bunch of sports that I guess people don't know that I'm really into, because a lot of people know about me that I like sports, but they don't know, I don't just like my two main sports, which would probably be hockey and baseball. I like a wide variety of them, and I just put some lesser known sports that people don't know that I like into it. My action plan for this here. Moving on to another page. I thought that this piece was technically average. Some pages of the silhouettes came out better to me than others. I thought that the soccer page was mediocre, and the basketball page was poorly drawn and colored in. But on the other hand, I really thought that the running one and the football one were on point in regards to where I saw them being. And my last work of art, the one I'm most proud of, is also untitled. I'll refer to it as Untitled number 2. It's watercolor, it's liquid watercolor paint and water on watercolor paper. My paintbrush never touched the paper. I was putting the water paintbrush on the paper and dripping the paint drips onto it. I was going for a more abstract look with this, but I wanted to represent manifest destiny. I was inspired by an Emily Dickinson poem, and that poem was entitled "I Know a Place." It was the third poem in a list of poems we were giving, and manifest destiny, it's really evident in the piece. I have, if you look closely, different eagles, bald eagles representing different colors, and bald eagle is a national symbol. It's a national bird and animal of America. So I thought that the Western mystery she was talking about in her poem was a direct correlation to manifest destiny at the time of when she wrote the poem, so it would be an effective way to show it, and none other better way to show it than with a bald eagle.